So, hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well. सर्दी आ गई है, so it's being a little sluggish for us to focus on our studies, but nevertheless, we have to do it for making our future bright. So, yeah, let's start and let's cover the last part of women empowerment, which is the conclusion one. Okay, so let's start it. Okay, let me share the screen first. So, yeah, in the previous lectures, we had covered the previous 5 chapters of woman empowerment. Okay, then the first chapter talked about the introduction one, that what is empowerment and what is not. And the second was about women and development in India and what were the determinants of marriage, women empowerment. And these were the institution of marriage in India, family planning and reproductive health, sex ratio in the India, women's labor force, international labor organization that releases the labor force participation index every year. Yeah, in which we saw that the ratio of a woman in a workforce is about 16 to 23%. And then scheduled caste and tribes, the marginality of a woman goes even higher when they belong to scheduled castes and tribes because they are already this marginalized one and the vulnerable one. And when women who is already vulnerable, even though she's from non-scheduled caste and so, but being born in such families like hell for them too. Yeah. And then there was a comparison between UP and Tamil Nadu. Okay. The third chapter discussed about the women's empowerment, definition and related issues. That what were the related issues or sorry, it's related studies. And then data and models, survey descriptions. We studied about with the examples of, I think, a few towns and cities all across India, not all across India. The book discussed only about Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh and the differences between wife and husband's answer. That the answer varied a lot. Husband reacted very positively about the wife's future growth and um, yeah, that's then estimation result. What are the mobility, voice, decision making power in the in household and freedom from domestic abuse, property rights, and further studies. And today we are going to cover the conclusion part. So let's go ahead. Yeah. So this thesis have has investigated the determinants of women's empowerment in rural Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, India, with the aim to see if intra-household gender-related constraints are present. The aggregate model showed that there is a divide between Tamil Nadu and UP, and that the determinants of a woman's empowerment vary between states and within states. Geography, environment, and community play a part in shaping the informal institutions, which in turn shape women's empowerment possibilities. When looking at the different empowerment variables, the results show that they are determined by different things. This verifies the relevance of investigating the different sides of a woman's empowerment and not looking at it as an overall index. Women's empowerment is multidimensional and at different stages of empowerment process, women may have different needs. This study shows that social and cultural norms are present in regard to determining women's status within the household. Okay, I don't know, but I think we were not clear about it. So the thesis investigated about the determinants of women empowerment in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh, जो कि एम करता है इंट्रा हाउस होल्ड जेंडर रिलेटेड कंस्ट्रेंट्स जो कि प्रेजेंट है फॉर वुमेन एंड द मॉडल आल्सो showed that there is a divide between Tamil Nadu and UP, or and this shows that the women empowerment determinants vary from state to state. Geography, environment, and community play a part in shaping the informal. और obviously geography, environment and community एक बहुत important role play करता है women empowerment को role या shape देने में. Just taken an example like women in Rajasthan, let's suppose. In Rajasthan, what happened that they do not have that much of access to resources. Let's take in some in Rajasthan in very undeveloped areas like underdeveloped areas where women even go miles for fetching water. So yeah, there what happened that the marginality of a woman also decreases because they will not get time to focus on themselves and for their future betterment. So when looking at the different empowerment variables, the results show that they are determined by different things. This verifies the relevance of investigating the different sides of a woman's empowerment and not looking at it as an overall index. Woman empowerment is multidimensional and at different stages of Okay. Women's empowerment is multidimensional, and at different stages of the empowerment processes, women may have different needs. This study shows that social and cultural norms are present in regard to determining women's status within the household and the role she has in society. The gender related constraints found in intra household relations were captured in the variables showing if a woman ever had a stillbirth, how many sons live in the household, if the husband lives with his wife, and these were more often found to be significant in Tamil Nadu and not in UP. Furthermore, the husband's education and the husband's perception of his wife's empowerment also show the interplay between members of the household in shaping a woman's empowerment. In UP, education and income seem to have a greater significance on women's empowerment. The economic status of a woman shown by variable indicating if she can support herself and her children, had a strong positive marginal effect on women's voice and mobility in UP. In order to increase women's economic status, policies should continue to support women's organization and self-help groups which are directed towards education, vocational training, employment, and access to microfinance. This is in line with the recommendations given in the World Survey on the Role of Women and Development, UNDESA. Okay. The finding in this thesis supports policies which have been used to empower women in India. Example, promoting education and delaying age at marriage. Okay, with an exception of decision making in the household in the UP. Education of both men and women is a highly relevant investment in regard to women's empowerment. Although this is an end in itself, it is not enough to address women's empowerment in regard to mobility, voice, decision making, power in the household, freedom from domestic abuse, and property rights. Women need to understand their rights, which they can do through education, but gender related constraints hinder their possibilities to use them. The results the results show that educational policies should be directed towards less developed areas where there is a lack of universal primary school education. In UP, there seemed to be a greater significance of education on all aspects of women's empowerment, mobility, voice, decision making power, freedom from violence, and property rights. However, in Tamil Nadu, the effect of education was insignificant except on women's freedom from domestic abuse, where husbands' education show a positive marginal effect. Women's age at marriage was seen as a significant determinant when it comes to mobility decision making in the household and the freedom from domestic violence. Therefore, continued efforts towards delaying a woman's age at marriage are encouraged. A woman who is older at marriage has a greater possibility to control her own situation and has a greater say in her own life. The positive age effect was found in both states for mobility, voice, and decision making power. In some aspects of empowerment, women in India gain status with age. However, in regard to freedom from domestic abuse and property rights, she may be discriminated her whole life. However, the traditional strategies of increasing education and delaying the age of marriage is not enough, where social norms still discriminate against women. One can one can see that the more demographically advanced state when it comes to education, marriage age, and fertility was the state where social norms were the greatest barriers to women's empowerment. One must keep in mind that the individual characteristics shaping women's empowerment may be shaped by the community in which she lives. This indicates further that in order to deal with intra household discrimination, the community must change. And since gender relations are shaped by social and cultural norms, which are captured by community level differences, policy making directed towards empowerment, women should involve social change. Okay, due to the great impact of communities of a woman's domestic situation, changing society's gender systems can help empower women. This is in line with previous studies showing that institutional changes are essential for empowerment of women and girls. So there is that Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and the Matrubandh Yojana and Bahini Yojana in some of the areas of, I think it's in Jharkhand maybe, or Maharashtra, I think Bahini. Okay. So these are the schemes that are there to make changes in the woman life. Furthermore, social norms captured by the groups of women belong to were also relevant in determining their empowerment. Hindu-Muslim differences were found in women's mobility and women belonging to scheduled caste and were disadvantaged. When it comes to property rights, this indicates that more needs to be done when it comes to disadvantaged group in society and that the national legislation in place must be implemented. The results encourage the accountability of policymakers and furthermore further implementation of existing laws. New mechanisms need to come into place when it comes to women's legal aid in regard to domestic violence and women's rights to land and property. Further, awareness should be raised on the issue of equal property rights. Differences in spouse perception of a woman's empowerment were seen to have a great impact on women's situation in both states. Thus, there is an interaction between household members in shaping rules and norms. In a policy perspective, it is important to involve men in promoting women's empowerment. The World Survey on the Role of a Woman in Development recommends to take specific measures to address stereotypes relating to the employment of both men and women, okay, including through awareness raising and advocacy and identifying positive role models. This should not only be limited to work outside the household but to unpaid work in the household. Women in India lack full empowerment in all the areas studied. Thus, a lot is left to be done. Educating women and men in the presence of gender roles and challenging traditional structure are essential to create a sustainable change for women in society and for overall development. Okay, that was only about the book Woman and Development. So it was the final day that we had discussed about the chapter Determinants of Women's Empowerment in Rural India. And we get to know that what are the major determinants here. So the major determinants were marriage, family planning, reproductive health and sex ratio, women labor force, marginality, yeah, and there, the estimation results on voice, mobility, decision making power, freedom from domestic abuse, and property rights. So, yeah, it was all about. I think we have covered it already, right? So, okay. So, I think this was all about today. And the next video, what we are going to discuss is the strategic approaches for women empowerment. I think not tomorrow, but tomorrow we are going to cover the Vision IS part. Okay, the tomorrow challenge would be like, okay, let me share the screen first. That was all about today. So, yeah, but now, mm-hmm. ओके सो नवंबर पार्ट वाला हम लोग को कवर करना है तो टुमारो वी विल कवर this. Let's take a recap for the. I think polity I just told you guys that we will cover, but I was unable to cover it completely. So it's of 23 pages, which is I think a little bit difficult for cover us in a single day. But we will try to cover both the GS paper 2 part Triton Island. I think he okay. Let's cover today also some points like places in news we can cover and the personalities in news we can cover and the schemes in news. Okay, so let's go to the page number 116. Okay, so yeah, schemes in news. Let's cover it today. I hope I this my screen is visible to you guys. Yeah, it is. Okay. So let's go through it. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Okay, तो प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना को 10 लाख से इंक्रीज करके 20 लाख तक बढ़ा दिया गया है. ओके, व्हाट इज इट अबाउट? ऑब्जेक्टिव देख लेते हैं हम लोग एंड देन इसका फीचर्स देखेंगे. ओके, तो ऑब्जेक्टिव है to provide collateral free access to credit in a seamless manner to enterprises in the country. So from here we can okay in that previous year paper it was about micro, small and medium enterprises. So what do you mean by micro enterprises or the small enterprises, huh? Like, how will you distinguish between all the three? तो माइक्रो मीडियम्स वो होते हैं जिनका एनुअल टर्नओवर इज अबाउट 1 crore. No, annual turnover is 5 crore and investment is about 1 crore. Okay, I'm so sorry that I don't have a mouse to use here, so I am writing through that laptop attached mouse. So it is a little cakey for me to explain here. But just get in mind that micro are those who have investment of 1 crore per annum and turnover of 5 crore, while those of the small one they have investment of 10 crore and the turnover of 50. ओके, देन मीडियम में आ जाते हैं, मीडियम में 50 इन्वेस्टमेंट होगा एंड 250 करोड़ टर्नओवर होगा, या ओके। तो 1, 5 एंड देन 10, 5, I mean 50, and then 50 and 250. I think I should cover it separately. Okay, okay. No issues. I'm just stopping the video and I'll go live to the another video so you guys can join there also. Thank you.